I think there's not a more perfect song, Pump It Up, for what I'm going to talk to you about today. Because I'm going to take on a subject that some of you may find controversial in how I express it. And that's good. That's good, because I want to press your buttons, because I want to break the illusion of things of the past, how we've been programmed to think ourselves. So today we're going to talk about God's will. God's will for you is different than God's will for you. Which side is good God's will? This one claimed it. The rest of you are all evil. So we're going to go into this, and it says, let's listen to what Ernest said about this. He said, it's only rational and logical that the will of God must be consistent with the nature of God. Does that make sense? That's really simple logic, isn't it? That we have this idea that we call God, and if it has a will, it must be in alignment with what it is. That's pretty logical. So then if I were to go and say, so what is Lee's will? Well, Lee's will must be aligned with what Lee is in the world. Would that not be true? I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying what I am tends to be what my will be, okay? Let's go on. When we refer to God, we mean great reality, infinite unity, the absolute, the one unconditioned, complete, perfect, invisible, changeless, and whole. Do you notice in that statement when we're talking about this thing called God that we're not saying Him? We're not saying it's a being. Do you get that? When you look at all of those words up there, there is no being. So we've got to come out of the illusion that we've bought into that there is a being up there that is judging us. There is no man with a beard sitting on the top of Mount Olympus judging us. We're going to get into that even more. So God's will. The nature of God. Remember we talked about the nature of God is the will of God? So what is the nature of God? The nature of God is freedom. Therefore, because freedom is its nature, it cannot know any limitation or bondage because it's contrary to its nature. Does that make sense? So what could confine God? Nothing. Because it is infinite. So if it's infinite, there's nothing to shackle it. There's nothing that can limit it. It keeps going forever. It's everything. There's nothing that can limit it. So that's its nature. It's free. Okay? Consequently, the nature of God must also be the nature of who we are, and we can't be separated from it. Because remember, if there is the infinite power and presence, which we believe there is, and all things are created out of it, from it, by it, it's creating us out of it. Therefore, everything that we are is the nature of God. And what is the nature of God? It is free. We are free then. Isn't that very logical? That we would be free because God is free. Very simple. God's nature is one of wholeness, peace, love, harmony, abundance, and power. So if God's nature is that, and it made us out of it in its image and likeness, which it did, then our nature must be what? Wholeness, peace, love, harmony, abundance, and power. But do you believe that? Do you really believe that, or are you living small? Are you living by the fact that you have limitations in your mind? I can't do this because of that. And it's real interesting when you start doing spiritual counseling about this type of thing, you understand that, yes, I am infinite. I have the ability to experience anything. And yet, if I set an expectation way up here, and I'm way down here away from that, and I focus on it, and I can't possibly, from my human mind, believe I get it, what do I become? Depressed. One of the greatest causes of all depression in the world today is the fact that we cannot perceive where we are to where we want to be. So we've set what? Based on humanness, we've set an unrealistic expectation for ourselves. So what's the way to come out of it is to reframe our thinking and say, I have this very lofty intention for myself, but I'm going to start where I am and realize that life is what? A journey. It's a journey that never ends. So I'm going to take a step today. And tomorrow I'm going to take another step and another step. And while I'm taking these steps, I am going to be fully present. I'm not going to be stuck living up here in what I want as a dream. I'm going to be fully present on my journey moving up. So you all know that in August I'm going to Tibet. And I'm going to Mount Kailash, and I'm going to be gone for a while, and I'm going to do a sacred trek up there. And I can't wait, because they say when Mount Kailash comes up and you see it for the first time, you are in awe, absolute awe. And they said, and Guru said that when you touch Mount Kailash, the part that's frozen, and you touch it, there's like an energy about it. I could be in a state of wantonness. I want to be there, I want to be there, I want to be there, I want to be there. And if I want to be there and I'm not there, what happens? I get depressed. Because I'm not there, I'm here, right? But in order to get there, I have to start here. And so what's the first thing I got to do? Ladies, you will understand this. I've got to have the right clothes. I'm going to be on Mount Kailash, right? 15 to 18,000 feet up. It's going to be cold. We're going to be sleeping on this mountain, trekking on this mountain. It could rain all day, every day we're up on the mountain. I got to have the right clothes. So what did I do this last week and a half? After Guru left, I was free. I could go to REI every day. And I could explore every piece of clothing that I wanted. And I enjoyed the fact that today was down jacket day. This is rain jacket day. And this is rain pants day. And these are stretchy mountain hiking pants day. Oh, and this is shoe day. And this is backpack day and walking pole day. And every moment, you're just in that moment savoring on each of these. What is the best one to fit what my desire is? So you're immersed in the feeling of the preparation, which at that moment is the end result. So while I didn't buy anything until Friday. Why Friday? Because that's when the big sale started. See, there's a feminine side to me you're getting to see right now. I like buying quality things, but I like paying the most reasonable price. So Friday, I came home with all this stuff. Now, here's the thing. I built up all week long to have all this stuff, right? When I bought the stuff, it was no thing. Because in my mind, I already had the stuff because I looked at it and I made a decision. And I'm sharing that with you because you don't have to have something to experience what it means to you. Do you get that? You don't have to be with your mate to experience love. You get that? You experience love, and then maybe you'll attract your mate. You've got to become that which you seek in order to have the experience of that which you desire. That's really clear. And there's a freedom about that. When you understand that you're free, that I don't have to have something to experience something, isn't that freedom? I don't have to have a Bentley convertible to experience what it would be like to drive a Bentley convertible, do I? I could close my eyes, put on just the right top, loose, flowing. My son Matthew would say, "Dad, you're so gay right now." I could see him right now. Why did I say that? Anyway, you sit there and you could feel that you're there and it's got this wood-grained steering wheel, handmade, and it's got the right amount of lacquer and varnish on it, and you put your hand on it and it feels so good. And you look and it's got, I don't know if it has Corinthian leather, but it has some really fancy leather, and you just sort of, oh, that's soft. And you sink into it and you feel that the armrest is just perfect. Your arm is resting here and this arm is right there and it just feels good. It's rested, it's good. And you're there and the sun, it's maybe 72 degrees and there's a gentle wind and the sun just starts to hit you and the wind is blowing. Oh, and in this picture I have long Fabio hair and it's... and the wind is blowing the hair back and I'm going and I pull up to this light, and there in a convertible Vet is Christy Brinkley. And she looks over and she nods. And I look back and I say, in your dreams. I just had the experience, didn't I? And I don't have to own the Bentley. You see, it's in the mind. We're free in our minds to do whatever, ever we want. And so, let's go on with this. Since God is abundant, it naturally follows that God cannot lack, God cannot want, and there cannot be any limitation. So if you are created out of it, then you cannot have lack, want, or limitation unless you perceive it in your own mind. Okay? It's only natural to conclude that all bondage is of the human mind because we are free to choose wholeness, here's the key, or we're free to choose not wholeness. Did you get that? We can choose to be happy and balanced or not happy and balanced. We can choose to be on the freeway and when someone flips us off because we're going 65 and they want to pass us going 90, we can say, isn't it interesting that they're that impatient? We don't have to let someone flipping us off bother us, do we? Never. We don't have to let them bother. Sonny, don't let it bother you, buddy. We're going to have to do prayer work with Sonny afterwards. I see that it's happening here. Don't let anyone cause you to come out of your state. That's one of the 4 agreements. Never, ever take anything personally. No matter what happens to you, don't take it personally. I had chocolate spilled on me earlier just as I was hugging, okay? I didn't take it personally. I had 3 women walk up to me and say, man, you smell good. You smell like chocolate. I said, well, if I wasn't married, I'd let you lick my pants, but you know. Now, I bet you never heard a minister say that. I want you to know that even though I'm a minister, you're still a guy, you're still a woman, you're still human. Do you get that? You're still human. Embrace the humanness and realize if you're saying something without the intention of hurting someone, it's okay. Now, if someone gets hurt by something you say, but you didn't intend it to be hurtful, guess what? You're not responsible for how they feel. Do you get that? That's a really big one here. You are not responsible for how they feel. They have a button. It's their job to work on that button. But I was in a relationship once before this one, so we're going back 48 years. And no matter what I did, I was wrong. And I had to constantly apologize for being me. Can you even imagine that? Yes, you can, because I was really obnoxious as a kid. But see, the person wanted me to be what they wanted. They don't want me for who I was. That's a relationship you pull out of, you get out of right away. You want to be in relationship with people who accept you as you are, who embrace your truth, who embrace who you are and accept you where you are and support you as you're on the path. What a person believes about God, and this is great, influences their entire experience in life. If you believe that God is judging you and if you're not good, you're going to hell, that's your experience of God. You believe in a judging God. How many people here say, he or she was such a God-fearing man or woman? Holy Jehoshaphat's Jesus. Fear God? How do you fear love? Because isn't God love? How do you fear love? Only because you don't understand what love is. I'm a God-embracing man. I embrace the intelligence, the infinite, the love, the beauty, the perception that God is. I embrace that because what I know is as I embrace it, I'm now able to embrace me. And when I can embrace me, I can embrace you. See, it's all connected, and it's always connected. There's nothing in this universe that opposes our good except we put there our misuse of the law, which itself is good. But it's not our misuse of the law. It's that we're using the law in a direction that we don't want to use it in. Does that make sense? So if my goal is to be a multimillionaire, I should be directing all of my thoughts, words, and actions toward being a multimillionaire. But if all of a sudden I go out and I take my credit card and I go spend, and I build up all this credit card debt, which I cannot pay off, guess what I feel? I feel horrible because it's not in alignment with what a multimillionaire would feel. Because a multimillionaire doesn't have debt. A person making $1 million is not a millionaire. A person who has a net worth of $1 million is a millionaire. And there is a big difference there. There are many people that make $1 million that have $2 million in debt. They're as in deep prison as a person who makes $20,000 who has $30,000 of debt. The fact of the matter is that debt is modern day slavery. You hear that? Because it constricts. You're not living to your truth. A millionaire spends according to what's coming in, but before they spend, they invest, they save, they give. They've got a consciousness and understanding that I'm building up my flow so that I can give more, I can have more, I can save more, I can do more good. That's why everyone in this room should want to be a millionaire, a multi-millionaire. Because when you have that type of money, and money is energy, you can do more good in the world. And so when you ask the question, if I were to win the lottery, let's say you were to win the lottery of $10 million today, what would you do with the money? If you don't know what you would do with the money, and it's not a big goal, you're not ready to receive that money. That's why most people, if they win, they lose it within several years. The second I win, Uncle Sam takes what? 50%. She got $5 million. What would I do with $5 million? I'd put $1 million into an investment account. I would take the next 4 and I'd build Agape's home. Already got the goal firmly implanted. I see the building, I know it just like it's right there. But whatever it is for you, you've got to build that image. So what would happen if you just all of a sudden were given $5 million tax-free? What would you do with it? Not what would you do with it. What good would you use it for? That's a good question. Hopefully add it to my 5 million or 4 million, and we'll build a bigger place. 1 here and 1 in Maui. And because we got the money, we'll have Sundays here and Wednesdays in Maui. And so we'll be like a traveling community. Maui will be bikinis and Speedos. Guys, you better get in shape. Anyway, where am I? The law represents... I just saw the Speedo. I got more work to do. Okay. The law presents itself to us, each of us, according to our belief, and always responds to judgment. This is the power that creates. It's right where we are all the time. It's always responding to us. It doesn't judge us. Whatever we put out, it accepts. You might ask, can we then alter? Can we choose? I read that wrong. You might ask, can we then do whatever we choose since God doesn't care? The answer is yes. We can do whatever we want. God does not care. However, there is a law of cause and effect, and whatever you put out, it returns to you. So there's nothing judging you, but there is a law responding to you. So what is the will of God? The will of God is the fact that it made you whole, perfect, and complete right now. It has given you all the power you can imagine to create the life of your dreams. God is love, God is peace, God is beauty, God is abundant, God is health, God is all of those things. And you can be all of that. And you can experience all of that in the human temple, which has 5 senses. See, a lot of times we want to deny the fact. Here was a great question. We had this at dinner last night. We had this question, several of us. We asked this question. If you had to sacrifice one of your 5 senses, which one would you give up? Ooh, that's a good question. And we came down that the 2 that probably meant the least to the 5 of us that were talking were smell and taste. Then the question asked, could you taste as much if you couldn't smell? So what I did is I held my nose. And then I took something and I ate it. Then I undid my nose and I took it and I ate at that. And guess what? It tasted differently. Do you know why it tasted differently? Because I believed it would. Did you hear that? It is done unto you as you believe. If you believe it affects it, it will affect it. If you don't believe, it won't. Do you get that? That's what the point of everything I want you to understand today is whatever you experience is totally based on what you believe. So if you're having an experience you don't want to have, your job is to shift your belief about it. You've gotten the greatest secret of all of life right now. All you have to do, you don't have to go to Mount Kailash, you don't have to go here, you don't have to study under this, you don't have to do anything. You simply have to focus your life on creating beliefs that support what you want out of life. That's the spiritual work. That's what a spiritual practice is. Meditation causes you to do that. Affirmative prayer causes it. Affirmation, mantras, gratitude, forgiveness, journaling, visualization, visioning. All of these spiritual tools are for one purpose, and rituals, all they're about is building a belief, and from that belief, you have a greater experience of life. Isn't that interesting that it's that simple? And yet if you go to my YouTube channel, where I've got almost 400 talks, I say the same thing 400 different ways. Because right now, maybe one person got it. The rest didn't. We don't know who receives a message and how they receive a message because we don't know what belief structure they're coming from. And in order to change a belief structure, we've got to gradually chip away at it. Beliefs don't change overnight. It takes time because it took time to install them. So it takes time to uninstall them and create a new one. You really don't have to uninstall. If you have a belief that as you age, your body goes down, you get flabby and you get this and you lose your memory and you need medicine. It's not about digging that up. It's now just building a new belief on top of it. All those things that I believed about old age, those are statistics. And guess what? I'm an individual. I'm not a statistic. Therefore, I can have a completely different experience than what the statistics show. Remember that when a doctor's giving you a prognosis, when a financial planner's giving you their prognosis, when everyone is giving you their thing, they're giving you an average. Now, if you accept it, it becomes your belief. The question you want to ask is, does that belief serve me? And if it does, what belief do I choose? It's in that choice that you have your power. It's in that choice that's God's will. The only one who can determine it is you. Let's go within.
I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask that you go to our website, agapecsl.com. Once there, click on the donate button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. Or if you would like, text your gift by simply dialing 972-532-6976. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to you in the world. I would ask that if you like this message, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Lee Wolak. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in the Agape community as we learn how to better self-love through conscious living.